will call the meeting to order. Someone want to do patriotic exercise?
I'd be happy to do this.
Let's
do this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, all right, roll call. Dan,
Present.
Doug,
Here.
Elizabeth here, Lisa here, Florence here. Approval of tonight's agenda. Motion to approve. I make a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you, Elizabeth. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Doug. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, public statements related to agenda items. There's nobody sitting here, so.
Nope.
It's in the agenda. All right. The consent agenda has a human resources job description. You'll need to pull that off. Consent. All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Lisa, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 7, administration, public hearing and discussion on the draft maps for transitioning from at-large to by trustee area. I will now open the public hearing.
Great. We did, President Long, get one statement to be read to the board in public session from Erica Liang, stating, "I strongly prefer scenarios A and C, with scenario C being the one that's most preferred. I do not support scenario B. I strongly desire that at least one district should have a minority group be a majority. Scenario C also has a district with slightly stronger Latino Hispanic representation, so that would be my most preferred."
Okay, and any other comments received by the public about this? No, and there's nobody audience to make a public comment. So I will close the public hearing. This gives us a chance now to discuss the maps again. Anybody?
I mean, the percentage difference is one between A and D for the Hispanic Latino population, but actually in scenario A, there are more opportunities for minorities in the trustee area too. So it has a stronger, higher percentage of two or more races. It has a higher percentage of Black, African American, has a higher percentage of Asian, and it doesn't have a higher percentage of Hispanic Latino by 21%.
A has
more opportunity.
I'd say what I liked about C is it has less variance.
okay. The areas are more similar. Okay.
In
Why
terms of
else do
population or the
Yeah.
boundaries? Population.
Yeah, while still having the minority population, these are some smaller areas. So like it's not, so one isn't too much bigger than another.
Right. What was it was plus or minus how much?
The maximum variance allowed is 10% between districts. That's the maximum for the maps. All of these are less than 10%.
So it might be that we don't have to do this again as soon if we start a place that's more even.
After this is completed, the county actually employs a demographer and a committee to look at the census data when it comes out and to move your lines to keep the census blocks variance within the same range. Okay, and then they come back to the board for reapproval.
I have a question. When looking at the data points, there's census data and voting age population data. If I only look at voting age population, none of the districts are minority majority. Is that correct?
I was using the white percentages for the proxy of the voting age population, and the third map it's 49.5. So if you clump all the rest of them together,
Oh, you clump all the minorities
yeah,
together
including
over.
including two or more races, then
Okay,
so it's less than 50%. white in the first map as well, so that's 49.5 in the first map.
I'm looking at the voting age.
At voting age, it's
49.7.
49.7, so it's
Okay.
tiny percent, lower percentage white in the third map, but
Oh, not in C.
yeah,
Oh,
but it's only 0.2%.
Right.
So, but they, both of them seem to accomplish, what we set out to do here. My view.
And what was the reason? So, I mean, what stands out to me is like area 3 has a lower population and 1 and 2 have higher. That was just to get those minority blocks and couldn't like make it a little more even.
Well, I mean, area 3 is where they're going to be adding lots of housing. So,
To be forward looking, you think too.
right, forward looking, because that's going to happen before 2030.
Well, I mean, the one that's currently in construction is 200 and some odd, and that's going to open this community.
So I think that area has the best chance of changing.
Certainly. Much better.
I did bring this, I went to PTA council today and brought up to them about, what we're doing here with the maps. And they were actually very interested in the entire process. And gave a lot of good feedback. In that meeting, not enough to come here, but they were sharing.
They were appreciative that we were doing.
Yeah, they were, and they were very interested in the spirit of the Voting Rights Act and seemed to support that idea. And also understanding sort of the things that come with that. We explained how it might be harder actually to recruit people to run for the board in every area and sort of we'll have to manage that as it comes. And also, how it's turned out for other areas that have already gone to by area voting. So they seemed very interested in the process and seemed to, they actually use the word trust. They trusted our judgment for picking the appropriate maps that reflect what our community. And they understood the spirit of it.
So I was a little surprised that area scenario C didn't really go very far. Beyond up here, we talked about it going over. And so it's like, I was picturing more the combination of, since area 4 and 5 were perpendicular to the direction they are in scenario B, but they weren't changing the voting block. That was the wish.
I think it gets trickier because remember, you also have to move it by census voting block, right? Which is defined by those little squares of voting age populations. You have to move them one at a time and try and keep the variance as low as possible while maintaining the population that we were hoping to maintain. So I think it was what I know it was some work because he ended up staying that evening as I was coaching him through what your discussion was. And that was just as good as he felt he could get it. But you're right, it isn't a huge portion over El Camino, but a lot of it is also going to change with the Rollins Road expansion as well. The interesting thing on this trustee area 3, it's the only one that doesn't physically have a school in it, but it represents the most schools. I thought that was really interesting. I was like, so it's the only one that doesn't have at least one school physically in it, but it represents actually every single elementary area except for Washington. Yeah.
Any more comments about these maps? So the next meeting will be Thursday. We'll be over Zoom to vote on the final.
Thursdays on Zoom.
Thursdays
Yes.
on Zoom.
So somebody will have to motion a preferred map and get a second so that the board can vote.
On Thursday.
On Thursday.
on Thursday.
Yeah. Right, we can manage that. Like Thursday, but I'll get to All right, now's your chance to say anything more about the maps. All right, so now we are going to public statements related to non-agenda items. Any public statements? No, present one. Now, we are going to move to closed session. Are there any public comments related to the closed session item? No, present one. We are recessing the closed session.
We have to come back.
Yeah, we have to go back.